Hey, what's up, everybody? It is the Ace Michael Show. Ace Michaels is in the house. I'm in the house, baby. Somebody asked me earlier today, was I dating? And I was like, do you mean telling people how old I am? No, I'm not. I'm never going to be dating if that's what you mean. Oh, you're talking about am I swapping spit with another human being on a regular basis and eating my food together with another person at the table? I don't know about that. What do we do about dating after the pandemic? I think when the pandemic started, a lot of us fell in love, and you know who you are. I think we found somebody. We thought the world was going to end. We were like, oh my gosh, I love you too. And now we realize that, you know what? This world is not going to end. I don't have to be stuck with this person. I think I need to play the field a little bit more. Anyway, I don't know if I'm playing the field. I don't know if the field is playing me. That's where I'm at. That's what's up. If you have some thoughts on dating in 2023, I'd love to have you on the show or get your email or your DM, because the kids, they call it the DM because it's too hard to say direct message. There's too many syllables in that for the kids. They like to say DM me, man, just DM me. And you can DM me, you can be on the show. I always say if you come on the show and you be a guest, it's the best way to get it off your chest. That's my little slogan. That's what's up. Today on the show, we have a fabulous vocalist. I'd like her to introduce herself and her resume because I can't even begin, dog. I'm serious. She's done a lot of stuff. I've been in Las Vegas for almost a decade, and her name kept popping up throughout the years. I kept seeing different things mentioning her, and I was like, gosh, one of these days I would love to interview her. So welcome to the show. Tell us who you are.
Hi, my name's Wendy Carrianis.
Oh, yeah. So y'all didn't know I was going to get Wendy Carrianis up on my show, dog. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Y'all shocked right now. Y'all shocked, dog. I love it. I love it. Wendy, tell us a little bit about your backstory because you do a lot.
I do. I do a lot of singing. I've been singing since I was 11 years old, and I started.
She sounds like a singer. Doesn't she have that singing? She's like, I've been singing since I was. I love your voice. Wow.
Thank you very much.
Your voice sounds like honey and maple syrup mixed together. I love it.
Well, thank you.
Amen.
I started singing professionally at the age of 16 at the Top of the Mint in a jazz club.
Nice.
And it went on from there to going on the road at 17 with a group called C'est La Vie. And then I moved to Los Angeles and New York. And, I'm still with it. It's the my love of my life.
Yeah. And there's nothing really that compares to music. And,
Yeah.
for people who don't do music, you probably look at us musicians or singers in a way that you think we're up there having fun. It's not really fun. Like, would you say that, Wendy? It's not really fun. It's kind of like an athletic thing, really, right? Like, because every night you do a gig, there's always something to contend with. Like, the microphone might be kind of funky. The chord, like, sometimes you touch the chord and it makes a sound, and you're like, okay, so the whole night I've got to remember not to do this.
Or the band starts off the first song of the set in the wrong key.
Yeah.
And you gotta, it's your opening, and you have to just sing the song anyway. It comes out. You just better sing.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of stuff. There's a whole production going on behind the production.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So, Wendy, how long have you been actually a professional singer? Like, I know you've been singing for a while, but when did you take it and say, okay, doggone it, boom, I'm a pro now?
At 16.
At 16?
It was time to go in 11th grade, and Mike DeBerry called me up, and he had heard about me from someone, and he asked me if I wanted to join his band, and I was just like, whoa, I'm very green. And he was jazz, but he was doing all these pop tunes and jazz tunes, and then he just I asked my father, and I took my dad up to the Top of the Mint, and I showed him, and I said, I don't want to go. And my dad was a musician, so he totally got it, in his younger years. And he said, if this is what you want to do, he calls me Tinkerbell. He's like, Tinkerbell, then that's what you're going to do. And if that's what's in your heart. And I have no regrets.
That was a super nice thing for him to be accepting of that, because a lot of parents, I don't know, man, parents freak out on like little stuff. They're like, oh, you want to wear Jordache jeans? You're grounded. And they don't understand, like, this is just a thing that a kid goes through. And if you just encourage it, the kid will probably step away from it after a minute. But you got to at least give them a minute,
Yeah.
So your dad's a musician?
Yeah, Dad was a musician.
Mm-hmm.
He played guitar and he had a velvety voice and he wrote songs. And then he met my mom at a ballroom dance, and that was it.
Now, was your mom, was she
It
also a
was over.
musician?
No, she loved ballroom dancing. She was a good
Oh,
dancer.
that's good. Well, they're artistically inclined.
Yes.
See, that's a tough one when two people aren't. I don't know if it's easier to have a relationship outside of the industry or if it's easier.
Yeah, I don't know either.
If you know, please contact us. We would like to know. Well, we're just wondering. No, it's funny. So Wendy, I was saying your name wrong for so long because I thought that you were an Italian singer. But being in Vegas, I just kind of presumed that you would be an Italian ballad singer. So I was calling you this whole time. I was calling Karen Gaines or something like that.
Everybody,
Caraganis or something.
my brother will tell you it's Caraganis, and then I have my grandfather who took the boat over and he spelled it different, and then my dad's sister spelled it different. My grandmother, so there's 4 different spellings, and I'm like, what's going on here? It's all Greek.
It's all Greek to me. Oh, it is Greek. Oh, that makes sense.
It totally is.
And so I want to ask you some questions about we're experiencing right now International Women's Month.
Yes.
Which is awesome because
Yes,
women
it
are
is.
awesome and international women
Yes,
are
they
even
are.
more awesome. So I want to ask you some questions about being a woman and what International Women's Month. First off, what does that even mean to you as a woman? Like when you hear that, does that ring any bells for you?
Oh yeah, I started posting things on women that I honor and I have so much respect for that are inspiring. And I started with a group of women here that are singers in town that are not just singers, but they're extraordinary in their ways of their spiritual, their uphill battles, they're so inspiring and they're so loving and compassionate, and I have so much respect for them. And on the first day I did a post about them, and then I started just putting up different singers, and and I think it really means honoring other women and respecting other women, and really just holding them first in place, and because women need to be supportive of other women. We don't need to bring each other down, and it needs to be the spiritual journey here.
Now, would you say that there is also a need then for an International Men's Day? Or
I knew
would
this was
that
coming.
be too much? Would that be pushing it too much? Men's don't need all that. Come on, men's.
I thought about that. I think some men could do it. Maybe they could get a day. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Let's give them a 15-minute break. During lunch, it'll be International Men's Lunch, and then right after that, you get right back to your desk, you get back in your cubicle, and get to work. Damn it.
Oh my God.
So
You're
not
funny.
necessarily though. You don't think men don't need that because men got enough stuff. We got football, we got baseball, we got hockey. We got enough stuff to really occupy us. Right?
Yeah. You guys got enough. No, I'm kidding.
And then, so let me ask you another woman's question. So, since you're in the music business, when you see women like Lizzo, who's like a new singer, she's a very heavy girl, but she's killing it. Does that mean anything to you as a woman? Like, have the rules
Yeah.
changed for what's marketable and what's not in the music business?
I
as far as women?
love it. I love that women don't have to be concerned about their body in a sense of starving themselves, and just like being who they are because they're gifted. Their anointment is from God, is the gift of singing to share with others, to lighten up their lives and make people feel good. Like that's what our gift is. Your gift. We lift people up. So, in whatever ways that is, people shouldn't have to have of course we have to care about how we look in a sense of, looking good, because that means we love ourselves. But I think it's great that stigma has been taken off of women, where it's like, you're 10 pounds overweight, or, you have.
Yeah, that's kind of that was always funny to me, because who was the person judging that? Like, who decided that a woman was supposed to be, 115
A man? No, I'm kidding,
pounds?
no.
It's true. No, it's true. It's just like a man decided a woman shouldn't be able to have a baby legally, or abort a baby.
Who discovered high heels?
Exactly. Who comes up with this stuff? Some French guy named Marcel comes up with all this stuff, and we just follow it. Like, okay,
Yeah.
we will do what we're
Supper.
told. We will do what we're told. We will do what we're. Yeah, exactly. That's crazy-ish.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
so as a woman, during International Women's Month, what would you do to change the world, make the world a better place, what would be your advice from the perspective of an international woman?
To learn and practice on a daily basis prayer and self-awareness. When you are out in the world, you need to be aware of yourself and your surroundings, and just self-awareness helps you to be like more compassionate and kind and aware. Walk into a 7-Eleven and smile and ask the person behind the counter, "Hey, how you doing? How's your day going?" People need to be smiled at. You can make their entire day by just saying, "Hey, how are you?" Because they're and they look at you and they're shocked because they're so used to people just being completely out of their head, and they get treated a lot like with no, like they're not special when they are.
As they say, marginalized. Like
Yeah.
these people get marginalized. And yeah, I think that would be a good thing. I'm not so like, sunshine, lovey roses type of person. But I do think the world could be a better place if people would take the energy to just treat their fellow man a little bit more compassionately.
Yes.
Do you agree, Wendy?
I agree. I totally agree.
Just a little compassion would go a long way.
Because you never know someone until you walked a mile in their shoes, or you never know what they're going through.
True that. What else could we do? Okay, so International Women's Month.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question. Is there a message you'd like to deliver as a woman to the men of the world?
To the men of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that let's see. That women, are precious and they're jewels and like their moms, and we are, we bring in children into the world, or some women, and some take care of dogs like myself. And I think that to really women are emotional, and to understand the differences between men and women. We are a completely different makeup, and our feelings and our emotions, we're emotional, and we, so I think and the same goes for women, to try to understand who we are as our genetic and our DNA, our being, and that would help us to understand each other more as, well, that's just a way a man is, and their process. And if a man would understand a woman more in her process, because we have hormonal things that we go through, and just more, like you said, compassion.
And so in the world of music, have you run into things that have been your being a woman has been an obstacle? Have you run into something where you're like, oh, they don't want to pay me the same because I'm a chick singer, or they don't feel like I carry enough weight because I'm the female in the band? Has that ever been a thing?
When I was younger, because I started so young, and that was way back. But now that doesn't ever happen to me now. I think that, I don't know. I just haven't had that energy projected on me. I think that you just have to hold, because I'm also a band leader, and I put my own groups together, and I also
that makes a big difference too.
Yeah, and I give my musicians so much respect, and I allow them to free their soul, and I love that. I'm like, express your soul, get up here and play, because that's what you do.
Yes.
And I say the only rule is you can't play it like the record. That's the only thing I ask you not to do, and don't use a DX7 sound.
Now, speaking of the record, you also have your own original records too, right?
I do.
How many records have you done?
I did back in when I was, this is like 2000. It's called Mirror, and I did it with a guy from England, originally from Nigeria, Luigi Shofu.
Oh wow!
And we didn't really do anything with it. It never really went anywhere. And then I did a Wendy Live CD, and I did it from the Baked Potato and from the Dispensary Lounge, and I put my original Butterfly that I wrote with Vernell Brown Jr.
Brown Jr.
The late Vernell, yeah.
Wow.
And
sometimes musicians come on the show and they drop names. I have no idea who they're talking about, but I heard of Vernell. Musicians that come on the show and they'll be like, "Yeah, man, we did that gig with Leonard Moto Freesomes and Johnny Clapton Signs was on that one on the keys, and it was crazy, man." I'm like, I don't know any of those people you're talking about. Anyway,
yeah, Vernell is an icon. He passed and went to the heavens last year, and we wrote a lot together, and he was on the road with Kenny Garrett, and we were about to do a new project, and but I'm still carrying it under my wings, and the songs we wrote to get them out, and
yes.
And then there's Randy Hall, speaking of Aries, another Aries that we did sad songs with, and he and I wrote it together, and we're about to put that one out. And the latest album, though, is Pacific Shore I did with Cottrell Dawson, who came back to town to do this CD of all these tracks he had written for me
Wow.
years ago. And then we just,
Wow.
during the shutdown, we just like locked down and did this album.
And how many songs are on these albums? Are these like 10-song albums, or are these like
11.
double albums?
I think the first, yeah, they do.
42 songs, Ace.
The magic number 11.
Right. The infinity number, kind
That's
of.
right.
Eight is really the infinity number, right?
Yeah.
So, Wendy, I'm going to ask you this question. It's very serious. This is my serious voice now. You hear this, Wendy?
Uh-oh.
This
What's
is
it gonna
serious.
be?
I would like to know, from your opinion,
Yes.
what is Wendy's best song to Wendy? What is your best song that you've written or you have performed, your original?
Sad Songs, it's called, that I wrote with Randy.
And why is that the best one, in your opinion?
I think it was the most challenging because Randy wrote all of these jazz intervals, and it really had to be a lyric that was so great, and it was a challenge, and it was just, and it also was very much true to Randy and I had been working together for so many years. Since I was 21, we started, and it was kind of like just, pulling pieces and fragments of my life up and just saying, okay, let's write about this,
Wow.
in my life.
Did you say it was like pulling fragments of your life? I couldn't get past that part. Like, that's pretty deep.
Well, that's the truth of it, and writing. As a writer, we pull off pieces of ourselves, and then also what our friends are going through and family members, and it's not always about us. It's the experiences of people around us. A friend of mine asked me what I wrote this song called "My Desire" on this latest CD, and I had to tell her, well, it's just like different pieces of different parts of fragments of people around me, and. Do you write also, Ace? You
I
write?
haven't written for years. Well, that's not true. In a year. The thing is, I spend so much time working on the show and working with other artists that I haven't really written the way that I used to write. I used to write all the time. I used to literally carry notebooks around, and at any drop of a hat, I would just start filling up pages full of ideas. But I don't know. It's different. I have the studio now, and I have the show, and so I have more responsibilities that I don't really get to write as much as I'd like to. However, before we run out of time, I would like to play a game with you, with Wendy.
Okay.
Uh-oh. This is a game where I'm going to recite some of the greatest lyrics ever
Oh, no.
occur, and you're going to tell me what you interpret these lyrics to mean. As a
Okay.
writer yourself, as an international woman of the world. These are... this page I went to is called The Most Beautiful Song Lyrics of All Time. And Wendy, you're beautiful, so I
Thank
know
you.
that this fits right into your wheelhouse. All you beautiful people do beautiful stuff together. So here you go. The first one I want to give you is, the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. What does that mean to Wendy? Carry honest.
That means a lot to me. That's a song that I sing, and when I do sing it, I've had some feedback from my parents, especially my mom. She doesn't resonate with it, and I had to tell her that is such an important lyrical song, even on a Christian basis, because it could be related to the Christ, of his life, and that is the greatest thing. And anything you could do is give love and to someone, and because that's the highest frequency. You're not going to get higher than that in life. You're just you project and you reflect. So if you're putting out something that's not right, it's going to come back to you.
Interesting. How about, thunder only happens when it's raining,
Yeah.
and players only love you when they're playing.
And women, they will come and they will go. But when the rain washes you clean, you'll know.
What does that lyric mean to you?
Yeah, that means, that a person who wants to have their freedom, and at the same time they're afraid to let go of the person they're with and that they love. And so they're kind of walking the line in between because they're confused, and then they end up playing. And
I never thought of it that way. You got my curiosity piqued with that. I never thought of it that way.
but does the player get played?
Yeah, interesting.
In the end, what's going on?
Wow. I'm actually reflecting on that. I'm still in that. I'm trying to look at the other, but I can't. Wow. Oh, okay. Well, let's go to the next one then. Now, you really got me pondering that. Wow. Here's a song lyric. They got money from wars, but can't feed the poor. I say again. They got money for wars, but can't feed the poor.
That's right. That's a very truthful lyric, and it talks about the state of the world today. If that's what you're asking, how I feel, what I relate to it.
Yeah. What do you get from that?
I think they fund them, and then they, make money from them, and it's nobody has to starve. If you can afford to pay for a war, you can afford to pay for the poor.
That's real talk. We got time for one more. This is one of my favorite songs too, by the way. I had no idea which songs I was going to pull up, so I'm literally scrolling through these lyrics. But this is actually one of my favorite songs. And this will be the last one, and we'll be out of time for the show. But this is what it says. If I had a box just for wishes and dreams that had never come true, the box would be empty except for the memory of how they were answered by you.
Except for the memory of how they were answered by you.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful, by the way.
That's one of my favorite songs. Jim Croce, Time in a Bottle.
Oh, wow.
If I had a box just for wishes and dreams that had never come true, the box would be empty except for the memory of how they were answered by you.
Of how they were answered by you. Is that the?
That's it.
Wow, that's also such a profound song. Oh God, what a beautiful lyric. So you want to know how do I feel?
How does that make you feel? What does that mean to you? What he's saying? Because sometimes the lyrics of songs mean something different to the writer than they do to the fans.
Yeah, I think it's just grasping a moment and putting it in a capsule, like in a box, and just knowing that somebody who gave you one of the greatest moments of your life, if you could just, which you can, just keep opening up that box and feeling it again, saving that time right in the bottle. Wow, that's a very deep song. And when you first told me the lyric, I didn't even know it was to that song until you told me the rest of it.
Isn't that deep?
Yeah.
That is deep. I don't think I can close the show deeper than that. Wendy, how do we chase you on the social media if we want to find you, we want to follow you, we want to stalk you? What do we do?
Okay, I'm on Facebook at Wendy, KARIGIANES, and on social media, Instagram. And my CD, Pacific Shore, is up on Amazon and all of the outlets. I'm not really sure of all the names of them, but
sure.
But all the iCloud, you name it, it's up there. And then I'm getting a website built that's put out to the universe, and that's what I'm putting in the box.
and remember, it's Wendy, like it's windy outside, WINDY,
yeah.
and it's Carianis, right?
Yeah, Carianis.
Carianis.
Yeah, thank you, Ace.
Carianis, wayward son. That's me acting stupid. Don't y'all pay attention to that. Don't clap if you drive.
Hey, that's a good way to have someone remember, though.
Hey, man, it's the Ace Michaels Show. Wendy Carianis on the show today. Hopefully she'll be back to educate us more and share some of her wonderful insights. And if you ever want to be on the show, we'd love to have you. You know what I say now. Live the life you love. Love the life you live. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wendy, that was awesome.
That was great.